All right, guys, so today we're actually sitting with Bryan Salamone. You might not know him by his face, but if you've happened to see a chrome green Lamborghini drive past you, this is definitely who is driving it, unless you know anybody else that has one.
No.
Right. So, so we're kind of tying, we're kind of getting off the path today. This isn't going to be related to mortgages or what I do, so to speak. But I met Bryan maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I used to cut hair. He walked into the barbershop. He was probably the only person that had ever walked in there wearing a watch like his and a pink tie. This might actually be the same outfit from that day we met. And I sat him down in a chair and I asked him what he did. And here we are 6 years later. So Bryan's a divorce attorney.
Yes, I am.
But not just a divorce attorney. You own the firm.
Yes.
Correct? So when did you open the firm?
24 years ago.
Wow.
And it was in my house. It was basically me, a typewriter, and a secretary.
So you started big.
Yeah, on my credit cards.
Right. Okay. So we'll reverse over that because that's honestly where I'd like to start because a lot of people, including myself when I first met you, and everyone else in the barbershop, assumed that this had to have been something that was either handed down to you or a family business or this isn't you don't just come out of nowhere and have Lamborghinis and travel the world and do everything you want. It's usually something. But you told me today that that's
absolutely my first job was. I was an IHOP cook. I still know all the codes in the International House of Pancakes.
Do you ever go just to...
Yeah, and when I go and you tell them, I was a cook here, and they're not that impressed. They just want to take your order and move on.
Instead of saying, hey, well, what do you do? How'd you get there? I'm going to follow.
Trust me. I've been to a lot of IHOPs.
Do you order by code? I would order by code.
They don't even have a code anymore. So a code would have been 93 OE, wrecked, and sunny. That's 9 eggs in 3 plates over easy. Wrecked is scrambled and sunny side out.
Wow.
93 OE, wrecked, and sunny. Be that.
See, so I was lucky enough to skip over the fast food industry. I worked at McDonald's for 2 days. And then when I got my paycheck, it was only for 1 day. And I made a big deal about it because it was $19 and I needed that money for lunch. And they told me that I should clock in because that's what I was supposed to do. So I quit. Yeah. That's when I worked at the barbershop. But
right now, as a divorce lawyer, I get to listen to, say, at least 1,000 people a year. And I ask them what they do, how much they make. I look at their savings. People who work in McDonald's do very well for themselves after a while.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Management positions.
Management, and then other owners will find you as a manager, give you a piece. There's real money.
Yeah. No, well, likewise, I've seen shocking things. I mean, I look at W-2s and pay stubs and some people that you don't expect to be making what they're making and then, and vice versa. You've been at a job for 20 years and you would think that they'd have gotten a raise.
Absolutely.
So that's interesting. So we go from IHOP. Obviously, you didn't go from working at IHOP to starting your own firm, right?
What I did is I stayed in the food industry, basically. So it was IHOP, then I threw pizzas.
Yeah?
Dino's, home of the Brooklyn Pie. And then after that, I was a security guard for $5.10 an hour. That was all right. And then throughout college, I was basically the mop guy in the back of the restaurant.
Okay.
I mopped up. And it was kind of humiliating because you'd have to take the bucket and the mop through the dance floor. And those were all of my college students who knew me.
All of the students?
So I was mop boy with the apron going through, and all of my classmates are dancing.
So this is like legit movie material.
No.
Like you were the guy getting made fun of for not having a good job by the people who had good jobs.
Totally,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Does that fuel you to this day?
No. It never really bothered me. I always had my own path. So
you knew what you were aiming for, though.
Yeah, just basically I was aiming to experience the most in life. So I had no specific direction or path, but I thought that winning would be, I am winning if between now and tomorrow, if my life has more experiences and is better than yours, that would be great. Then I'm winning.
That's how you win against
Lately,
someone
though,
else.
you've been winning sometimes.
I don't know against you, but
still,
I'll find someone else.
there's always someone up there,
So, all right. So now let's say obviously it's no secret that you make a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. So was that always part of, like, for instance, did you know that the career path that you wanted to follow was going to make you a lot of money? What came first? Do you want to be happy in your career, or did you want to make enough money so that you could be happy outside of your career?
Exactly that. I wanted to make money doing something I could do, and then I wanted to experience happiness outside of the career. For example, dentists, a lot of them confess to me that they don't love to actually smell the human mouth and go in there.
That's a shock, I would have assumed.
Podiatrists don't actually love that after a few years, but they make money.
Right. And then they enjoy themselves outside of work.
Yeah.
So I've always said that to anyone that I've ever talked to, especially when I used to cut hair, and cutting hair wasn't miserable, but you don't need to love what you do for a living. You need to be able to love what happens after you get home from work. That's not what you're not living to work. You're working to live.
Absolutely. There are people who say, I love my job and all of that. I love my job because I'm good at it. It's like if you're a tennis player, you love tennis if you're good at it. If you're not so much. So I do love my job, but the job has afforded me the ability to travel the entire world. And wherever I am, I would know the history and all of that. Yeah, and I know more about people. It's interesting. Most anyone on Long Island, if you look at them and what they do, I've done that case.
Yeah.
Whether you're a school teacher, a cop, .com billionaire, I've done it. I've done those cases, so you kind of know.
You learn a lot from different cases too.
Absolutely.
Do you make it a point to kind of not pry, but do you make it a point to ask a few questions if you're working with someone who you don't know their job field or you're interested in it? Like, do you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you have someone across the table and he's a young kid and you say, okay, so how much did you make last year for child support purposes? And he says, well, like $950,000. Interesting. What do you do?
Is this for the case? Yeah, no, it's totally for the case. Yeah. So how did you get so good?
No, you do need to know because you need to know if there was a licensed degree or a proprietary interest or possibly a contingent contract in the future. Wow. Some of these guys, if you are a .com guy, they want to get divorced now because something huge is coming
and
in the
pipeline.
And they want to
cut it out.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be held accountable for something that they're going to make in the future if they know about it now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one day until
you're going to get the money.
Big deal and your wife has been with you 29 years,
that's
do it
hers.
That day.
Oh, I can only imagine the stuff you see. And we were joking about this before because a lot of people that watch this,
right.
My followers are people my age and they're not married yet or they're just married. So we'll disclaimer the very beginning of this podcast, and we don't want to glorify divorce because, of course, it's terrible. But
I'm Catholic. I actually am against it.
Yeah.
But if your marriage is unhealthy, unsafe, or completely inappropriate, you've got to do something about it. Sickness and in health. But if the guy is an incurable drug addict or drunk, and you have children to protect, and he's abusive, that's divorce. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I never get anyone who's happy or on the fence.
Right.
We get the bad stuff, and most everybody waits far long to divorce. Usually they wait till after the violence starts or after the children have seen things.
Right, and that's what makes it uglier.
Uglier, absolutely. Yeah. And people do terrible things to the people they love. And if they are planning, it's bad.
Yeah. Well,
there are people who plan 3-4 years for a divorce.
Premeditated. Mm-hmm. Most celebrities, do you see that a lot with celebrities?
No, celebrity divorces and true wealthy divorces, they're easy.
Yeah.
Split the stuff.
Yeah.
Split the stuff and split the companies or continue to run the company together. They're all right.
Is that what happened with Bezos?
No, I don't know exactly that one. I didn't follow it. Didn't love that one.
Yeah, well, she's got to have some at Amazon. Because I don't think he could have liquidated it. I don't think he sold it.
I don't know.
But, all right, so...
You know, though, he says that there will be no Amazon in 100 years. That all companies have a life.
And Amazon...
He said about 70 years. Wow. Elon Musk said that, too.
Yeah.
I mean, look at some of the great companies.
Well, Elon Musk is already working his way away from cars. He says that he's not even interested in the cars anymore. He just wants to do batteries. I think that's because he wants an efficient way to get to outer space so he can colonize Mars. And
sounds good to me.
I
would love to be that first.
You'd go.
Yeah. Right now.
I'm looking at a picture of you in driving an airplane, flying an airplane.
Absolutely. I've flown fighter jets. I've done all sorts of cool things, but I do want to go to space. And when I wanted to go, they only had one thing. It was called the Vomit Rocket. It was a plane that goes right to the edge of space, and you experience weightlessness for about 6 minutes.
You did it?
No, I was going to, but I said, in the future there'll be something better, and it was a huge amount of money just to throw up. Every single person throws up, they say.
Really?
Yeah, they call it the Vomit Rocket.
Wow.
So maybe
How much did they want to do that at the time?
I think it was 19,000, and so I did a different experience. We got on the shark boat, the Horizon, that's on the Discovery Channel in Shark Week.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to swim with sharks, not just regular ones, those big white great whites.
Yeah, in like the cages.
In the cages, but the cages are a funny thing. They throw the cage in the water, then you go in the water, and you have to swim to the cage. So they throw the cage in the water, I'm in the water, and they're lowering it, and the guy up top, he yells, "White shark!" What? They're great white sharks, first of all, and I didn't see anything, right? And right past me, the fin. And I was out of the cage. It was wild. And when you're in the cage, you do stupid stuff, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, hands way out, and, they look horrible.
Scary.
They're all beaten up, the sharks out in the wild. Because when they take a sea lion down,
It fights.
scratches and everything.
Yeah, wow.
There's one shark that I saw, and I know specifically who he is because I called him Shredder because his fins are all shredded. I've seen him on like 3 Nat Geo broadcasts. He's
Really?
a star. Oh, yeah.
Jeez, and it's crazy. You have hundreds of stories like this. Like this
Yeah.
is like a weekend. Like you didn't plan this for a year. How long? When did you decide you were going swimming with sharks? How soon before you actually did it?
I was on the toilet, and there was a men's magazine, and it said some sort of adventure thing, and I brought my father, and he was about 80, and my brother, who was younger than me. It was really cool family trip.
And how old is your father now?
88.
Oh, so this was 8 years ago. This wasn't too long ago.
No, that was...
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you start doing all of this stuff? Was this as you got 15, 20 years into your career, or were you always doing stuff like this?
No, when I was working actually at IHOP and throwing pizzas, I had this idea that I was going to take a bicycle and drive it around the world. And it sounded pretty crazy, but my friends were into it, all 3 of us.
And that's what you had enough money for at the time.
Well, it was $2,800, and I did it with the American Youth Hostels. We landed in Switzerland, went all down Italy, all that, took ferry to what used to be called Yugoslavia, to Dubrovnik, which is where the Game of Thrones is filmed. But I did all that, and I was 15, and I asked my dad, "Can I do it?" And he's, "Absolutely." He gave me $50 a day spending money.
And how long did it take?
I was there 35 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was messed up because I had this gorgeous Venetian glass horse, because you had to bring the bikes to Venice, and it was glass, and I saved it, and it got broken so many times. I saved it, gave it to my mother. It was the biggest thing. That day, a cleaning lady broke it.
Not even your mother, the cleaning lady?
No. And I still have the bike that I used in that trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your mother works here.
Yes.
I met your mother, right?
Yeah. There's no one who loves you like a mother.
Right.
There's just no way.
And would be more loyal as a business, whether it's partner or employee or anything, right?
More loyal, but more like a mother.
Yeah.
I mean, if...
She's gonna tell you something an assistant wouldn't normally tell you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Her real opinion of everyone you talk to. That's funny.
And the funny thing is, there is a time where I thought I was smarter than my parents. But to this day, Dad and Mom are teaching me things every day, all the time. Every time I think I know this and they're so stupid, I'm wrong.
You
I
learn
really am.
every time.
I'm telling you, yeah. Older people have some wisdom, and parents, I don't even know how they do it. I mean, they sacrifice their lives.
Yeah. Now, you don't have any kids.
No.
Do you still? I remember I met.
Little Bean.
Yeah. Do you still have him?
Yeah, I do. It was my landscaper's kid.
Okay.
So his mother was going to go back to Honduras. My landscaper, Jose, he said, "What should I do with the kid?" I said, "Bring him to my house and we'll raise him together." That was pretty funny, going to school. Me and the guy who didn't speak English, him, the landscaper, and me in a suit. Looked like a really interesting gay couple.
Yeah.
But he stopped going to the school meetings, and I kept going. And on Friday, we're having a huge, huge deal. He's being confirmed, and that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge, because I am a godfather, and people take all sorts of things on that. What it means?
Yeah.
It means you are in charge of giving the kid sacraments. So he has to complete sacraments. So he had no choice. He's been going to religion
You're
his
his
whole
godfather.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how old is he now?
He's 13.
Wow. Yeah, I remember. I think he like barely talked when I first cut his hair.
Yeah.
So he was probably
Oh,
6.
yeah.
Yeah.
He never talks to anyone. He's not gregarious, and he really doesn't enjoy any of the adventures I like.
No.
None of it, no.
I remember he would just want the iPad or he'd want the Game Boy.
I mean, even the music. I mean, Little Pump, always talking about jet skis. Hey, Bean, let's get some jet skis. Yeah.
What did I remember one time he said what do you want to do with your hair, and he's like whatever is the quickest. He just wanted to get out of the barbershop.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
No, he was quick though.
He has some humor. So when he orders his fribble or whatever it is in a diner, he wants a strawberry shake, and then he looks at the girl and he goes, "I'll take 3 cherries with that." And as she walks away, he goes, "Bitch." Yeah, he does. He's messed up. I took him to psychiatrists.
I wonder where he gets it.
I don't know. Not me. Not me. But yeah, I took him to psychiatrists. Everything said he doesn't know he's depressed.
No.
I'm thinking, tell him.
First step.
And give him some freaking happy pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta wait 4 more years. Nah, I'm sure you can get him now.
No, he's just going to be fine, but he has really no ambition. It's okay to have no ambition.
Yeah, but he's 13, so who knows?
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think you
I
can
went
compare
around
him
the
to
world
you.
in a bicycle
Right.
at 15, but then again,
Well,
he's pretty good at Fortnite.
Yeah. So
And you have to go from the beginning each time you die, so it is a lot of perseverance.
Perseverance, dedication.
Back into the battle bus, the whole deal.
You don't play video games, do you?
I watch them. I don't see the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to
I
play.
like
and
things to entertain me. I don't want to be interactive.
have to do something.
Ugh, God.
I used to play video games. I still have systems, and I'll buy a game here and there, like nostalgia, and then I'll go to play it for like an hour, and then I just kind of lose it, and it's a big waste of money for me. But
Yeah, but someone in your success level, you could have the video game like evil mastermind, 10 screens, the whole deal.
I know
You could.
I could, and I
It's just not high on the priorities.
yeah, not anymore. If I had back then what I have now, I'd have every video game lined up, the whole 9. So I'll play certain games that come out as they come out if there's stuff I've been interested in for years and years, or like remakes of old games. But
Have you seen the movies lately? We shot a movie with Ryan Reynolds, and it was amazing.
You told me about it.
Boston.
I didn't see it.
It's going to be called Free Guy. My car's in it, and really cool movie.
What platform is it launching on?
Oh, it's actually going to be in the theaters.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's a $250 million movie. So, I mean, and it was the summer blockbuster that didn't happen. Supposed to be Memorial Day, then it went to Labor Day, then it was to Christmas, and they're just not opening. But the movies have been strained for the last year. There's no extras. You can do whole movies with no people.
Like 6 people. For the
It's
whole
going to
thing.
be like a guy trapped in prison, someone's in a haunted house. It's one location,
Yeah.
about four or 5 characters. It's amazing how they've adapted to it.
That's because they're not even allowed to film, or it's just too much of a headache. They got to keep testing and keep
The
doing this and
amount of
that.
people, the Ryan Reynolds movie, there's literally 600 people with all sorts of badges and credentials everywhere.
Because this was before COVID.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, movies have a lot of staff, and now it's amazing
Nothing.
what they can do.
So you don't even have a release date on that yet.
No, I'm not on that one.
don't know
what
when it-
would be a good COVID movie? That Tom Hanks movie where he's alone in the island.
Castaway.
Oh, yeah. See, that's the script they're pulling out. In fact, Lionsgate went up pretty much because of this. They have a lot of old scripts. And if you see a lot of the new movies, there seem to be a nebulous time, the beginning of cell phones, or maybe they don't have cell phones, because cell phones changed most every movie.
Yeah.
How are you going to be in a... You got to do the whole, I'm in a haunted house, the cell phone doesn't work.
Yeah. It added a whole different,
Yeah. Nobody gets lost
Availability
within
of scenes.
10 miles of a town anymore.
Right. And the cell phones never work when you are lost. The reception's no good.
And the car doesn't turn on unless you take the visor, and that's where the keys come. That's a California thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody puts their keys on the visor.
My parents just left them in the ignition. But, all right, so 15 years old, you finished riding your bike across the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you transition, or I should say, you graduated high school, obviously you went to college.
Yeah. I actually didn't want to go to college. I was driving an Oldsmobile 442, dating a girl named Maria, who was a shallow man's dream. I mean, so had the girl, I had the car, I wanted to do the I will be a banquet waiter for a year or two before college. I just didn't want to go. My dad, who was a prize fighter from the 50s, has a high school, like a GED. He wrote the damn essay, sent it to the college, and wakes me up. Get up, you're going to college today.
That's how you got in?
Yeah, Marist College, upstate.
I've heard of Marist.
Yeah, so that was not my writing. The whole the whole essay on why I wanted to be there.
Why you wanted to go to college?
Yeah.
So, all right, so how long did you go to Marist for?
For 1 year. I met a different girl named Maria, and that was awesome. And I really, at that point, I didn't see a future at Marist. I didn't see a lot of people doing much of anything. They were saying a lot were going to their parents' businesses and stuff. So I asked them if I was going to do multimedia, communications, something in that, where to go, and it was Boston University, so I transferred there.
Okay.
And there was a difference of $30,000 between the two schools.
Tuitions.
Dad flipped, totally flipped, yeah.
Who was paying for it?
He was paying only for 4 years of college, and now it got dramatically expensive.
Because now it was 4 years, cost 1 year. 1 year cost 4 years of college.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. But he sucked it up, and he did drive a Pinto. He drove a Maverick, Ford Maverick. He never had anything fancy in his life, never had a $500 watch, didn't know what jewelry really was, and really sucked it up for everyone. And me, my brother, and sister did the college thing. I got a doctorate degree eventually, and they have masters.
So what do you, I didn't even know you had a brother and sister. We just never talked about it.
Yeah.
What do they do?
My sister's doing one of those things where she's on the stock exchange.
Okay.
It's basically one of those jobs where she's one of the only women, and
Wow.
she's raking it in, and my brother is a rocket scientist.
Wow.
Government programs, the whole deal.
So,
He has a patent on a switch in a bomb.
yeah?
Yeah.
So pretty decent turnout for the three
Yeah,
kids.
for them. Yeah. And mom works for me, so she can't complain. We're
Yeah.
good to her.
Wow, that's awesome. So let's get to where you really, like, when did you decide, or how did you decide law school for divorce law?
It was Dad again. I got out of college, and I wanted to just sit around the house, and I had a Cadillac at that time, and a
And he
different
wrote
girl
you-
named Maria.
He wrote you an internship letter
No,
for a job that you didn't want?
He just harassed me, and he said, Josh Gleiber next door, he's going to law school. What are you doing with your life? I said, I'm going to law school, Dad. And then, yeah, so I just took the LSATs. That would be the test to go in.
Yeah.
And it was messed up. I got almost a perfect score, but I did it. I answered question 1 on the line for question 2. Everything was one question off.
So you failed miserably.
And it was
on
funny
paper.
because if you looked at one question out, perfect score. And part of a test is reading the directions. So it was just real bad. And I almost packed it in because if you do it again, I'll get a perfect score, do the whole thing. They average them.
Really?
Yeah. And literally people were saying, because of that foolish thing of answering the different lines and the little bubbles wrong,
You were shot.
just find another career.
Wow. Because I mean, if you needed a 75 but you got a 73, you could get a 78 and they would average it. Would you you got a 10?
No, it was,
Or,
because
nothing
every question
was
I
wrong.
answered in the wrong.
So
they just
some of
didn't
them might have
line
been
up.
right, but 90% of them were wrong.
I don't think anyone, yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
So I studied for about a year. I was a banquet waiter, and I aced it, just like a perfect score, like no one's ever seen the second time.
Yeah.
Ended up in law school, and didn't particularly love that. It's horrible. There was a movie about it called The Paper Chase in the 70s. It's horrible, yeah. They try to intimidate you, scare you.
Boot camp for professionals?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Internships were brutal, and first job made $23,000 a year. No
As
health
an-
benefits.
As like entry-level attorney?
Yeah. And it was all the time. It was 12, 14 hours a day, weekend at least one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you weren't getting paid extra for staying at the office. It wasn't,
That was a problem. It was in a firm that does medical malpractice defense.
Okay.
So unless you were going to bring in a hospital or an insurance carrier, you're never going to be partnered. They literally said, don't work past 5. Why are you always here?
Yeah.
So at that point, I knew that the salary increments would be so low. I would be not that low. I'd be making, say, a Suffolk cop's salary,
Right.
which is good, but
Eventually.
not doing that paperwork all
Right.
day, every day. Yeah.
You'd rather do what a Suffolk cop does, which is...
It was my birthday then, so I quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, ended up, so I went to the beach. There was a nude beach in Long Island.
I've heard
Yeah.
stories. It's
Met
gone
a
now,
girl
right?
named Lori, and that day, bought a typewriter and started my law firm in my house.
So it wasn't divorce right off the bat.
Oh, no, totally. At that time, everyone said, stay away from divorce. The only thing is that family law and divorce, never go there. My first case was a divorce case, and I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah?
Every part of it, I hated it.
Was there a lot of money involved?
No, I was an average person. Bitterness, craziness, and all of that. And I vowed never to do another one. Then the judge came out with a decision, and then I got 100 calls the next day with divorce clients.
And that's it. That's how it started.
That's how it started, yeah.
So you had to expand rapidly. Like, were you
Yeah.
you were like way too small when you first started to take those calls?
Yeah, then this was before Windows 98.
Jeez.
So the programs was like professional write on the computers. There was really no such thing as a central server and stuff. We would kind of just run lines to another room. I had 2 cops as interns. They were going to law school, and they would come in from 11 to 3 at night.
Oh wow! Oh,
Yeah.
because they're in they're
And
in
my
law school.
wife at that point didn't speak English, so not making so much money there. She was a housewife.
You were married,
Yeah.
and your wife didn't speak English.
No.
Spanish?
Yeah.
Do you speak Spanish?
No,
No.
no. So one of my New Year's resolutions every year is don't marry someone who doesn't speak English. It was very tough.
And you keep renewing that resolution because
Yeah.
you have to.
You know, it was horrible. She comes home and she didn't even know light switches were on the wall. She literally comes from a place that has no lights. It was.
I was gonna say, do I ask how you guys
Tungurahua,
met?
Ecuador. Yeah. I met her in a nightclub, and I took her out for one day, and I told her as she was leaving, you know, if you ever come back to the United States, I'll be your boyfriend. You know, give me a call. And then she started calling from Ecuador and saying she was coming back. And I said, okay, call me when you get back. She did. And she was in the airport, like, pick me up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was. How old were you when you got married?
Well, 20, no, about 30.
30. Okay. And now you're not. This isn't because now you're with your girlfriend. Now is
Someone else.
Davina.
But,
Or
yeah.
You call her concubine, or everyone calls her concubine. So you have to
Yeah.
clear that up so that.
Oh, God, yeah. Concubine. We were in China, and we were trying to get married, right? There's a forbidden city. Apparently, we were forbidden to marry there, but we ended up marrying somewhere. It was not a real wedding. It was more of a vow type thing, and there were crazy vows, and we were with some pretty crazy people, and Davina said, no. Do you take this man? She said, no. And she said, because everyone knows the king, and we had just heard a lecture, the king in China or the ruler of China, his wife has no power. It was always the concubine. It was always the mistress that had the power. So
Really?
she said she wanted to remain a mistress or
The
a
mistress.
concubine. And that nickname stuck.
That's hilarious. Do you remember any of the vows?
No, I don't. Yeah, but I'm sure there's a video of that somewhere. And we were with the most eclectic group ever. It was
Yeah.
literally 2 billionaires and 3 porn stars. And us trying to get some sort of ceremony going on.
That's hilarious.
So
In China.
we're not married. I would never get married again. There's no benefit to it.
There's
for
no
either
reason.
party, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who to know better?
Yeah.
I would think.
If
But
it's a religious reason,
Yeah.
go ahead. Other than that, though.
yeah, I've seen, because I mean, you obviously look at more than I do, but I see divorce stipulations and stuff all the time, and I see some of the way that things are worded and some of the things that are taken from either party, and it's crazy.
It's crazy, and divorce attorneys, they thrive on the middle and circular logic and arguments. So what we tried to do is, and when you're successful, you can do things like that. You can actually develop a better mousetrap. We developed a 7-step linear system that gets you right through the divorce. And you always know where you are. I'm on step 4. You know,
Yeah.
oh my God, I spent so much. What step am I on? 2.
This one.
Or 6. But so it really is unique. And we seem to shorten cases and get the results quicker, which is really tough in COVID.
Well, and I was gonna say, so you obviously you do everything from $700 no contest divorces,
Yeah.
of which I've learned firsthand. You
Yeah,
helped me out, and it was
absolutely.
funny when you came to get a haircut from me the first time I ever met you. The first thing you ever said to me, because I asked you what you did, I'd never talked to you before, and you said, "Oh, I'm a divorce attorney. Never get married. Don't ever get married. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter where. Just don't do it." And I said, I wish I would have met you a year or two
Actually,
ago, because
I remember it this way. I remember that you were super intelligent, super driven. You had just written read Tony Robbins' Money book.
yeah,
Money.
I gave you that book after
Yeah,
that.
and I'm telling you, and the things you were saying, I just knew it. Like I know it with other people that if this guy's an honest guy, if people trust him, it's going to happen. All these opportunities, and he's married to someone outside the country. Oh my God, get a divorce immediately, right?
Did you see myself in you? I did exactly what you did.
Well, oh yeah.
I met her a few more times, I think, than you did. But no, but it was good at that time. It was 100% amicable. So we came in here together and we just signed everything, and it was great. But you're saying, so now if somebody comes in here and it's a nightmare, you spread it out over 7 steps and you show them exactly what they're going to do.
Exactly where you are
Yeah.
and what your game plan is, because although there's many contingencies, they all seem to end up the same. People split their stuff. There's going to be an award of support based on where the kids go, and that's about it. The divorce now, we used to have fun. There used to be grounds for divorce: adultery, cruel and inhuman treatment. Now it's no fault.
No fault divorce.
Yeah, all you have to say is 4 words: I want a divorce.
And you're automatically entitled to one, and you're entitled to the same things you would be if it was adultery?
You can now that you say, I want a divorce, the whole deal is then you got to do custody of the kids, and then you have to do support, and that's all messed up now. The law is really, really bad and wrong, and then you have to split your stuff up under equitable distribution.
So for instance, if you have let's say you have 2 separate situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
One, same people, same amount of money, same everything, same jobs between the 2 of them. One woman wants a divorce just because she just wants a divorce.
Yeah.
No explanation or nothing. The other woman wants a divorce because she has documented proof that he cheated on her and lied. Is it the same? Is this one entitled to the same thing?
Yes, the same. And the funny thing is, one of the examples we have is a real case. So a woman says, he's been abusing me. I've dealt with verbal abuse and emotional abuse, and that's bad, right? Sometimes, a woman will tell me, he's been abusing me. He's been doing this for so many years. There's really no compensation for that because the divorce would be no fault. The only way you can do that is you use that in a custody battle. But, for example, if, let's say you were married right now, right? If you have sex with your wife's sister and her mother and put it on YouTube, she's not getting any extra money when she divorces you.
Really?
Yeah. She can cheat with your best friend, all of that.
Wow.
She has not been here yet.
No.
But it is amazing. So they're basically saying that divorce is gender neutral right now, and you guys do what you want with each other. When you're ready to divorce, just say you want a divorce. Kids are the primary, yeah.
Yeah.
And kids have been messed up lately. There's been deaths in Nassau County and Suffolk County as a result of things going on in divorces.
Really?
In the Bronx, they had a 7-year-old child fed to pigs.
Over the divorce?
Yeah.
See, my parents got divorced when me and my sister were like 9 and 10. And we actually went to my parents and were like, this shit is ridiculous. You guys need to divorce. Like, they were together for us. And we were like, this is enough. Like, we'd much rather go to 2 different houses once a week and not have to hear you guys screaming all the time. And now that they've been divorced, they're like best friends.
Yeah. Most people who are staying together for the kids don't realize that sometimes the kids don't need to stay for them to stay together.
And it's not the best thing for the kids to stay together. If you're going to be arguing all the time and, and disagreeing on every single thing.
Yeah, and even kids, like, for example, you do the right thing, try to do the right thing. Sometimes they just don't appreciate it or wanted something else. I took Bean camping. It was a horror to him.
He hated it.
Like the worst nightmare. Yeah. Why would anybody live in the woods? No, it's not fun.
I said the same thing. I said I don't work as hard as I do to go without Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is what I pay for.
You know where you get the best Wi-Fi? It's an amazing thing. Kenya. Really? You're out in the Masai Mara. Plains forever. Boom, cell phone, 5 bars, ready to go.
Why? What are they doing out there?
No. And everybody just knows that in Africa they have the best cell phone reception. Yet in lower Manhattan,
Can't get anything.
you're trying to actually go like this with the phone. Yeah.
Wow. Here too, you get bad reception here, right? Because I used to work down the block.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Terrible.
terrible reception.
But the Kenya story. So we had a tent in Kenya.
Okay.
It was the most well-constructed tent. It literally had indoor plumbing. And heated beds, yeah.
That's not camping.
Yeah, we had actually 2 guys outside, and they looked like Nigerian warlords with giant guns, and they were there all night because of the hippos.
Yeah.
Hippos come and kill people, apparently.
And when did you go to Kenya?
That one I don't remember. That was probably 2010.
So, I guess the one thing that I could pull out of this and kind of show to the people watching this that are in my position or trying to be in my position to get to your position, right? We've already established the fact that this wasn't handed to you, right? Mm-hmm. So you went through all the steps that you needed to go through to get to where you want, and looks like you've literally done. You don't have anything that you could say you want to do that you haven't done, or that you're not going. Space travel. Yeah. This is a very small list.
That's it,
right? So that's something to be proud of, right? So when this was something I wanted to ask you, right? If you look at your Instagram, or if you look at some of the stuff you've done, or you just listen to this podcast in general, right? It doesn't look like you have time to work at all. It looks like you're just out having fun all the time, right?
Right.
So how much time do you dedicate, or do you delegate all of your work at this point, or how did you come to the terms where you said, all right, I need this much time for myself every week? It's all time management?
Well, first of all, we're at this place, and you're here because you didn't stay married. Otherwise, half of everything you have would be with her right now.
Right.
But time management is very important. During the week, say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, just go straight home, watch boring TV and come back. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you only have those 3 days, I end up doing just amazing things. And sometimes when I see something in someone, I follow them, they follow me, as people.
Yeah.
And different rap stars. I mean, there was Tekashi 6ix9ine.
I know you have a lot of friends.
He was just so interested in hanging out all the time, so we hung out, and it was interesting. And then to watch him go to that incredible position that he did. He was #1 for a while.
So you knew him before?
Oh, before he had facial tattoos.
Really?
I could stop with the facial tattoos. I used to say constantly, yeah.
It was his image, as part of his image.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And the songs that he was dancing around my car saying this stuff.
I remember.
I told him he would be a better video editor but now I actually love his stuff. Love it. Yeah.
Well, I remember you were in a 50 Cent music video. You've probably been in countless music videos at this point.
Yeah, and they just happen. And if you're an honest person and you're nice and opportunities just happen. 50 Cent video was fun because his manager comes up to me, and I was in Atlantic City, and he says, my boss, 50 Cent, wants you to do the titular video, the title video for the Power series, and it's going to be tomorrow at 2 a.m. in Lower Manhattan, South Street Seaport. You need to bring all your jewelry and your car. So Concubine said, that's how white people get killed.
I was going to say, bring your bank routing information too. And,
right? Yeah, so she didn't want to go. And then I heard he was a total dick, don't approach him and all of that. The SUVs come, black SUVs, and I'm like, okay, so this is where I die. Yeah. Comes out, gives me a huge hug. We had fun that night. It was great. We did about 5 or 6 videos.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
So that just presented itself.
Do you think like the groups that you're in and the cars that you drive, that definitely helps, that grabs a lot of people's attention? It
does, but it's a lot of negative attention. For some reason, cars seem to be an indicative of a person's wealth or status. So someone in a $700,000 car, they
automatically not
automatically,
a good
yet
person.
There are professionals, a regular doctor, lawyer, dentist, whatever it is, could have that car with one less kid.
Right. Right. Or they could even have the car in general, they just don't.
Or stop listening to what your wife wants with the mini mansion. Get yourself a $700,000 car. I put a dinosaur on my front lawn just to show I could.
I remember when you did that. You sat in my chair. I remember I was like, just got off the phone. I was like dealing with some other shit. And you're like, yeah, I put a dinosaur on my lawn. And I'm like, wait, 10 minutes ago, did you say you put a dinosaur on your lawn? Show me the picture.
That's exactly how you say to the world, you know,
I'm doing
no
whatever I
fucks
want to do.
given.
Yeah.
Totally. I'm just doing whatever I want. Try. Any man, I dare him. Ask the woman, can we put a dinosaur on the front lawn? See what happens.
Well, the best that I hear all the time that I just agree with people is, you know, I agree just to not have to bring anything up. But that whole happy wife, happy life. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm like, yeah, I guess if that's what works.
It's what really works. What's really true is whoever's the most miserable person in the relationship is going to bring everything down. That just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the way people treat each other, when there's fondness, when there were grounds for divorce, the judge used to say, that's not cruel treatment. If they are married more than 20 years, show me an axe in their head. Anything else was not cruel in treatment.
Really?
Yeah, because after 20 years, you've called your spouse every name in the book, possibly had pushed her or something, but there was one judge who said there's literally nothing you could do that would be
considered
cruel treatment after 20 years. But in the first week, if you just, say one word, it divorces.
Yeah.
Because there was a difference.
Yeah. See, and as much as, you have this view towards divorce not just because, but, your line of work, but you have, from the outside looking in, and, behind closed doors, everyone's always got whatever going on, but you and Concubine are visually the happiest people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You guys do everything together. You travel together, you drive together. She has the limo, she has the Lambo truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So whenever she would drop you off, if she had to go do something, she'd drop you off, we'd see the truck, we'd be like, oh, that's Conk today, or oh, no, that's Bryan today. Yeah. So, and you're known in the community and all these people that do cars, and then, but you get the girls that are like, oh my God, I could never do that. Like, look at what, and
Concubine has actually no fear of anything. She's jumped out of airplanes with me, and most recently we went through the tunnels of Japan, following the gangsters of Japan in their Lambos, and it was death-defying. I thought they actually wanted to kill me in there. It was like synchronized swimming with Lambos in the tunnels of Japan, and they had the whole area set up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the most thrilling things I've ever done. So she's down, she's there, she takes the risks. She's hit 200 miles an hour at least 15 times. Very few people can handle that type of no control.
I don't know if I could. Not in the truck, in the car?
No, in my car usually.
Yeah.
We fight airplanes and helicopters. We lose to airplanes and we beat helicopters.
Right, I've seen the videos.
Yeah, you can't. In order to go 200 miles an hour, you usually need a runway or an Indian reservation. Because for the right amount of money, they'll let you have the road.
Listen, I could keep you all day. I know you got phone calls to make. We're going to let Bryan go, but it was awesome having you, and thank you so much for taking the time.
And you know what? It's really good to see you.
You too, Bryan.
Really good. Thanks.
Thank you.